Indian immigration updates. Along with me is my business partner, Emily Neiman. Emily, what do we have today?
Yeah, we have a couple of topics to discuss of updates that have been going on over the last week. The first one is please don't travel outside the US right now. The second one is please don't travel outside the US right now. Third one is if you ask us if we should travel right now, we're going to say no. And the fourth topic is please do not travel outside the US right now. There are so many things going on, things change overnight. We've seen it recently with what's going on with visa cancellations, appointments, and that's going to be a big problem for people to get back to the US. So we'll go through all of those, but all in all, please, now is not the time to travel outside the US.
There are multiple reasons why we are telling do not travel. Now, the Trump administration, if he wants to do some changes to the non-immigrant visas, though, he has to either go to the Congress, which most probably won't pass it, or he has to go to the regulatory process, which takes time for him to get those things done. However, when the Trump administration has a lot more authorities at the border, that means that once you cross the country and you want to come in, the Trump administration has a lot more authority. So if you look into the way it's been imposed about, initially they did cancel third country national stamping, they canceled it. That means that you can only go to your home country, you cannot go to the other countries. Then they said the drop box has been taken off. That is a great deal where a lot of people were using the Dropbox that has been taken off. We have seen the $100,000 imposed upon, and that practically is only for the people who are outside the country. If you are within United States, that $100,000 is not applicable. So because you can see all these trends are only if you travel outside the country. Now we have seen those people whose visas appointments are on December 15th or afterwards, they were all postponed. Now, if you have a job and if they postpone all the way to April or May, then if you don't have a job, I mean, if the H-1B job does not continue, you will have to withdraw the H-1B application. They are making the social media as just an excuse to cut you off, though. We have also seen some of the people who have already have a H-1B visa, and one of the person is a victim of a harassment. When she complained, what happened was that the other guy also complained that, hey, she's harassing me, he's harassing. They arrested both the people. And now, since she was being arrested, though, the administration does not look into whether she's guilty or not guilty. She has an arrest record. That's all. Her visa has been revoked right now. Now, if you're outside the country, if the visa is revoked, you will be in great problem. So those things can also happen. These are some of the things that we are telling that happened in the past 1 year, less than 1 year, I would say. In the past 11 months, these are the things that happened. We don't know if any more things are going to come from the Trump administration that will restrict the travel. Now, I don't have to tell you that the 30 countries travel ban or 18 countries to 30 countries travel ban, of course, India and China are not yet included in it. But what if, there is anything that can be possible if you cross the border? Emily?
Yeah, so, the big topic that started going on about a week ago is the cancellation of visa interview appointments because the Department of State is introducing this social media vetting policy. They claim that because it takes them more time to review each individual applicant, that they have too many people booked in those slots, so they cancel all those slots. And of course, when they reschedule, they're doing it for months later. They're not working you in a reasonable period of time. And so people who had already left the US and then ended up with their appointments canceled because of this policy are stuck outside the US. Now, your main option is to try to request an expedited appointment. If were planning on getting your visa stamped to December 19th and now your appointment is in June, and your employer is not going to be willing to keep you on working remotely for the next 6 months, or maybe you have a job where remote work is not even an option, you can try to request an emergency appointment. The problem is, I doubt they're going to grant any of those. They already are claiming they don't have the capacity with this new social media policy That's why they're canceling appointments. They're not going to work more people into the process. So if you cannot get an emergency appointment, the number one goal is to make sure you don't lose that job, because if you do ultimately lose that job, um, now if you find a new job, maybe later in June or July, and that company wants to file an H-1B petition for you, it has to be filed as a consular processing petition. Guess what? Consular processing H-1Bs now require the extra $100,000 Trump fee. No companies are willing to pay that right now. So unless your job qualifies for an exemption, which as far as I know, no one's been granted an exemption yet, you're pretty much stuck until the $100,000 fee goes away, which we don't know if or when that will happen. So that puts you in a very precarious situation. And that's just one example of how things change in an instant for people who, planned their trip months ago, did all the right things, and now they're stuck. So with this social media vetting policy, um, do people have to be worried about what they say on social media? What, should they be going through and canceling all of their social media? Should they take, delete posts? What should they be worrying about with that right now?
First, they need to make it public, Emily. Deleting, I don't, first of all, I don't think so. Most of our clients are any anti American things that they have done anything. So definitely, if there is something you have criticized the Trump administration, that's not the thing that they're looking into. They're mostly looking into if there is any anti-American and anti-Israeli things, anti-Western comment, Western culture comments. Those kind of things is where most of the people, if they should be concerned about. Deleting definitely is not a, you probably need to check with a lawyer if you have anything that you have done that previously. But for 99% of our clients, Emily, who mostly are, they're just Dick and Harry guys, they go by there. And they, of course, they're critical on the government issues, which is not what they are concerned about. They're not anti-Western thing, because if you are anti-Western thing, then why are you coming into United States? That's my first question that will pop up. Why are you coming into this country if you have a anti-Western philosophy, though? So definitely 99% of, or even 99.999%, I would say, won't fall into any problems. It's just the delay that is causing problem. Definitely, if you are going for stamping, if you're already in USA, the first thing Emily has pointed out 4 times: don't travel outside the country, and if you need to, then you definitely need to open up the if there is anything private that you have, you need to open up the social media out. If you have put your Facebook, because other people are just trying to harass you, and you have to open it up right now. Otherwise, they're not going to grant you the visa. We have already been some reports that they have stopped issuing H4 visas to the people who have not opened up on the social media, because they're also checking on the H4 person whether you declare yourself to be married or you declare yourself to be single. Because marriage is not a private affair, though. It is a public affair. This is not a girlfriend, boyfriend. This is not anything related to, if it's a marriage, it is public. I mean, no, you're not supposed to keep the marriage secret, especially when you are coming traveling out all the way to United States, saying that you are a dependent. It should not be a private affair. It should be a public affair. We have told even before the social media itself that when you are presenting yourself as a dependent, though, and you're coming as that you're a spouse of the H-1B L1 or some other visa status, you definitely need to make it public and make sure that you have all the information accurately reflecting. If you're updating it properly, I mean, if you're saying that if you're not updating from past 10 years or 5 years, and then you just got married, you didn't update it, that makes sense. But you are telling that you're updating every month, but you didn't update your marriage. That seems to be very strange. So definitely, those things you need to make them public before you go for visa stamping.
Yeah, and I would also, we've told people from, again, before the social media vetting, take a look at your LinkedIn, particularly if you are the main applicant, you're the H-1B worker. Make sure that the information posted there about your job background and your experience lines up with the information in your DS-160, lines up with the information in your petition, and of course is always accurate. So you want to make sure there's no discrepancies there that are going to bring questions for granting the visa or not.
Going to the $100,000, as we were discussing in the beginning, was Emily is pointing out, is not to travel. That is the main criteria right now. If you plan to file a H-1B in the quota, though, you should not travel, period. If you're outside the country, the $100,000 is applicable. If you are inside, illegally in the country, whether you are on H-1B visa, whether you are on H-4 visa, whether you're on L-2 visa, L-1 visa, you want to transfer to H-1B, the $100,000 is not applicable. It's only applicable if you're outside the country. If you're moving from OPT, STEM extension to H-1B, the lottery, the $100,000 is not applicable. If you're moving change of status from H-4 to H-1, the $100,000 is not applicable. L-2 to H-1B within United States, $100,000 is not applicable. L-1 to H-1B, the $100,000 is not applicable. So it's only applicable if you leave the country. Now, even if you had a H-1B before, and you don't go through the lottery system, when you are outside the country, you want to come into the country. If a company files a H-1B, the $100,000 is applicable. And that's the reason why we are telling people not to travel outside the country. Emily?
All right. And do you want to go to questions?
Yes, I get the questions. Now, here is the questions that are coming. Is it safe to travel on STEM OPT? This question is coming. It's written in Arabic or Urdu language. I don't know who the person is. The answer is no, it's not safe to travel on a STEM OPT. It is not safe to travel on for a Christmas holiday for the people who are just on F1 or going to classes continuously. It is not too safe to travel for them. It is not too safe to travel for people who are on OPT. It's not too safe to travel people who have a H-1B stamping. It's not safe to travel for the people who have a H-4 stamping. It's not safe to travel for the L1B, L2 visa people. It's not safe to travel if they already stamped in the passport for L1A or L1B to travel outside the country. It's not safe for you to travel to outside the country. If you're going for stamping, for all reasons, it's not safe for you to travel. So please do not travel at this point of time. That's our sincere advice. Now, if you go back, there was a video. It's in the shorts, Ready Newman 2-minute shorts that we have, YouTube shorts that we have. I have said to people at that point of time, people laughed at me that I said 13 times, can I go to visa stamping? I said, do not go for visa stamping. Do not go for visa stamping. Do not go for visa stamping. Do not go for, do not, do not, do not, do not, do not, do not. Now, now we are telling differently, not only not go visa stamping, if you already have the stamping, like for example, if you have F1 stamping, you're working on OPT, you're working on STEM extension, you already have a H1B stamping, you already have a H4 stamping, don't go for stamping. Well, Emily just released a Twitter. She forwarded something in the Twitter. Well, Trump just proclaimed two more countries were being banned for the travel. That are Senegal and Ivory Coast were being banned. That's just the news today. I mean, this is on top of the countries. The countries keep on getting added into this one. You can look into Immigration Girl of Twitter. Emily does update it very frequently. Emily, any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions on here are, if we have a valid visa stamp, we should be able to travel, right? It's safe to travel. No, it's not. Now, yes, previously we were saying specifically for people that needed to go for stamping, do not travel. Now we are expanding that to people that even have a valid visa stamp because the Department of State has come out and said they are revoking valid visas. They can do it in their sole authority anytime. There's no recourse. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, if you're in the US and your visa is revoked, if it's a prudential revocation, which is what they're doing for most of these people that have some sort of law enforcement interaction, it does not impact your status. You can continue to stay in the US. But if you happen to be outside the US planning on returning back using your valid visa stamp, and while you're out, you get that email saying, we've revoked your visa, there is nothing you can do except for apply for a new visa. Well, guess what? There's no appointments available in the near future. And even if there were, because you've had that law enforcement interaction, you're very likely to go into administrative processing, which means you're going to be stuck for weeks, if not months. It is a big risk to take, even for people that do have a valid visa stamp.
Someone is asking this interesting question about the visa revocation. If the person's visa is revoked, can they still stay in United States, continue working on the H-1B or H-4 EAD? The answer is yes, they can still stay in the country and continue working on the H-1B and H-4 EAD. The only thing that they cannot do is travel outside the country with that visa stamping or travel outside the country. They can stay in the country. If you're already in the country, you are safe right now. Your H-1B will be extended, your H-4 will be extended. But if you leave the country, then you have to go for stamping. Now, we yet did not figure it out. If they are revoking the visa because you have an arrest record, for some, as I said, one of the lady got arrested because she complained she was being harassed. And if in the first place they have revoked the H-1B, in which previously the policy was that they would revoke only if there is a new crime involved, new arrest involved. Now, from December onwards, it is even if the arrest has took place 12 years ago, 13 years ago, they are revoking the visas right now. Now, we yet don't know if they are revoking it. When you go to the consulate, will they actually grant it? If they actually want to grant it, what's the purpose why they're revoking? Can they grant it? And then when you try to, before you enter into the country, they can revoke it. We don't understand at this point of time what they are because they didn't officially announce why they are revoking it. Because previously it's only for the new arrest they were revoking it. And then you have to go for stamping. Once you go for stamping, you disclose all the things. It was fine. There was no revocation. So definitely, Shravan, we don't know how the things are going to act in the future about these things. Now, you can be the scapegoat if you if you want to be, which we don't want our audience to be scapegoat. Of course, there are people who don't listen to us and they want to be scapegoat, and they will tell us. Yeah, they granted the visa. I came into United States, Rahul. Okay, that's fine. That's very good. We learned a lesson. Then we'll tell the other people. But we don't want you to be the experimental guinea pig person.
All right. Madman says, how are I-140 and I-129 approvals for people that have those past law enforcement interactions? So we actually talked about this today in our firm-wide attorney meeting. And among our team, we have gotten all of those cases approved, knock on wood, up until this point. These are people who may have had an arrest, but the charges were dismissed or dropped or did not end up in a conviction, or the charges were reduced down. For all of these people, it was an incident that did not make them inadmissible, it did not make them removable, and we provided additional evidence of the positive discretionary factors that this person had, that they went to their biometrics appointment, that they've always maintained their status, that they have a good work history, that they've paid their taxes, that they contribute to their community. All of those things we include, and we're able to get those approved. I personally have only seen one denial so far. Probably was a correct denial based on the crime and the actual conviction that happened, but that wasn't one of our firm's cases.
The question is asking for the adjustment of status. Is the social media vetting? Is it? Are they going to do it? I definitely. This question is coming from Satish. Satish from Twitter. I definitely want the people who are going for adjustment of status to keep their social media open so that let the USCI search on it. That would be in a best interest because they are also might be testing whether you're genuinely married or not. That's also being tested there. So definitely, even though they didn't advise us at this point of time, I would voluntarily would like to open it up before I go to the adjustment of status. I would say that if you're in adjustment of status, open it up so that if the USCIS want to search it, they can search it though. One question that comes from X also, the gentleman is asking that this is Varun from X is asking this question. If the visa has been revoked, how is it lawful to continue working on a revoked visa? Visa is a privilege for you to go outside the country and come back in. The non-immigrant status is completely different, though. For example, if you come on F1 visa and then you change to the H1B, that is change of status, you have a I-797. You never have a H1B stamped in your passport. Can you work on the H1B? The Congress rule says that you can work on the H-1B even though you don't have the passport visa stamped. That is what the law is right now. Now, since the visa has been revoked, the underlying non-immigrant status has not been revoked, you can still continue working on the H-1B or H-4 EAD. So that's the basis for which you can continue staying. You can continue working in the H4 EAD too. Emily, one question that I had was that even previously, Emily, when the visa revocation, let's say somebody has an arrest of the DUI and they got their H1B or F1 revoked and they went back and after their psychiatric evaluation, doctor evaluation, they got back. Now, only the person who has the arrest record got their non-immigrant visa revoked. This time, though, they did revoke the dependents. Do you see any sense in it? And why is the dependents visa revoked?
Yeah, that makes zero sense, because I mean, I get that the H4 dependent is tied to the H1B, but the H1B is still remaining in status in the United States, which means the H4 is in status, and the H4 should then be able to travel in and out. They're not the ones that have the arrest record. So that makes zero sense. I don't know why they would think that they can do that.
Questions are coming with regards to the green card holder traveling outside the country. I'm assuming that the travel will be less than 180 days. I'm assuming that you do not have any arrest records, none whatsoever at all. We do not see any problem for the people who are on green card holder to travel if the travel is limited to less than 180 days and they do not have any arrest records. Now, when it comes to the advance parole, definitely we don't encourage people to travel, but we are okay if you want to travel. Now, make sure that you do not have any arrest record at all. And if there is anything, you should check with an immigration lawyer to make sure everything is okay. I am probably okay. It's up to Emily how she feels about the advance parole. I'm probably okay if everything is clean with you on the advance parole to travel. Green card, definitely you're good to travel as long as you're traveling less than 180 days. You have never traveled outside the country for more than 180 days, and you do not have any arrest record whatsoever at all. I don't have a problem when you're traveling on the green card.
Dr. Anonymous says, please talk about ICE working with TSA to pre-check domestic travelers. It happened at Boston Logan Airport. Are they detaining them if the visa's expired or if they're out of status? So we did get news, at least I saw on Twitter or X, that TSA is sharing passenger lists for domestic flights with ICE, and ICE is going through those lists, matching them up with their database and detaining people. Now, I think they're only doing this when the person on that flight has a final order of removal. So this person has already gone through deportation proceedings, but they're still in the US, even though they've been ordered removed. That's the only case I'm aware of where they've actually detained someone. It's not something that they can do for an expired visa. An expired visa does not impact your status in the United States. It does not impact your ability to travel on a domestic flight. So I would not have any difficulties with people traveling domestically when they are maintaining their status in the US.
How about the people whose H1B has been revoked, H4 has been revoked, Emily, recently?
If the visa stamp has been revoked, it should not have any impact because even the email notifications people are getting, not from every consulate's emails are different, but several of them do state that you are still considered to be maintaining status and this does not impact your ability to stay in the United States. If they were detaining people in that situation just based on a revoked visa, it would be completely incorrect because the visa revocations are prudential revocations. There's two types of revocations. There's one that's immediate and one that's prudential. Immediate means your visa is immediately revoked. That could impact your status. What's happening now is not immediate revocations, they're prudential revocations. That means they only take place when you exit the country. So even though you've gotten an email saying your visa is prudentially revoked, it's not treated as an actual revocation until you step foot outside the US. So for that reason, they shouldn't have any difficulties with traveling because they are still maintaining status.
Madhusudan is asking, is the situation going to get better with the lawsuit litigation? And can the things will be sorted out about all these things? One issue is that there are lawyers this side of the aisle, and there are lawyers that side of the aisle too. Now, what the Trump administration become smarter or maybe dumber, whichever, however you take it as, is that they learned that they have more authority over the border. That means that if a person travels outside the country, then they have more control over whether they can allow the person to come back into the country. So if you look into most of the restrictions, though, that they have done is on the people coming into United States. There are restrictions within United States, but they're very limited. They can be easily handled. But the restrictions that they have put on traveling outside and you want to try to come back are very heavy. There was when the Muslim ban came in, it was tried in the court. The court sided with the Trump administration at that point of time, saying that the administration has authority over the borders. So that's where we are weak at this point of time. The things of travel outside the country may not get better in the Trump administration. So you may have to live here for sure without traveling for a period of until the Trump administration is gone. And that's what I would advise, is to not think, okay, this is going to be gone in 6 months or maybe 4 months, and the lawyers are going to have some magical things coming up, and then we can travel and then we can get the stamping. Don't think, because the administration is not going to change for the next 3 years. So face it up, guys.
Conda says, what are the exceptions or requirements to get an emergency appointment scheduled at the consulate? That's the difficulty. It is discretionary, which means that it's up to them to decide if your situation warrants it or not. But the second issue is that it also is based on their appointment availability. And with this new social media vetting, they're using that as an excuse to say, we don't have any extra appointments available. Therefore, we're not going to give you any emergency appointments. We saw this happen quite a bit during COVID, and as well as when we had the H&L travel ban, where people were trying to get exceptions to that so that they could get their visa stamp and come back, and is very limited, very hard to get, very unlikely that you'll be able to get an emergency appointment.
Deep Das has a plan to travel Puerto Rico, assuming that you're going to directly fly from here, from US to the Puerto Rico without going to Mexico or some other country. You do not have to go through the immigration there. Yeah, so you are fine. Just carry all the documents with you, but there is no immigration process. I personally went to Puerto Rico, I had no issues. I checked it. There is no immigration check on it. It's just like going from Texas to California. Same thing is for Hawaii too. So anybody wants to plan any travels, guys, we have become travel advisors right now. Is yeah, Puerto Rico, definitely you can consider it. No problems with it. Alaska, directly flying to Alaska. Of course, this is the winter season, you don't fly to Alaska. But Hawaii probably is another choice that you can choose. It's a very good place to visit if you have not visited. Hawaii is a good place for you guys. And without any immigration issues, you can travel to Hawaii.
Vasant says, I filed my H4 EAD in December 2025. I think that's 2024. Raised an outside processing time request in July 2025, and USCIS replied that they had mailed an ASC appointment notice to my address, but I have not received it. What does this mean, and what steps should I take if the notice does not arrive? You need to continually follow up with them to get that biometrics notice, because if you do not appear, and they can basically deny your application for abandonment, and then you've got to refile and start the whole process over again. So call the 1-800 number, use the live agent chat through Emma on their website. But typically, this means they think there is something in your background, typically some kind of law enforcement interaction. It could be something as simple as a parking a ticket that turned into, unpaid parking ticket problem, or any kind of fingerprinting that you've done. So most likely, once you do your biometrics, they'll send a request for evidence or a notice of intent to deny the I-765, stating that they have this derogatory information, asking for the arrest records and all the disposition, and then letting you know that there might be positive factors that you could submit to have them use their discretion to still approve your EAD application.
More questions are coming on a potential visa revocation. For those people who don't know what it is, people got an email saying that your already visa validity is there. That visa has been revoked. Now, that's the reason why Emily's pointed out that don't travel even if you have the visa. So people are asking the question with regards to that if I have a prudential visa revoked, can I transfer from company A to company B? I am an H-1B. Will there be any problem? We have not faced any problems. As Emily has pointed out, they will ask you to come for the biometrics. You definitely may have to check with the lawyer to see if the arrest that you have is okay. And as Emily's pointed out, we have no problem except one guy who's some major crimes. But otherwise, most of the people had no issues there. They'll get an RFE for asking for biometrics. You will go for the biometrics. And after that, your H-1B will be transferred. H-1B will be transferred. We didn't had any issue. Another gentleman asking, I got my visa revocation. I'm planning to send my wife and child to visa interview. They are in India right now. Can I go ahead and send them to the interview? If they were here in USA and you are sending them to India right now, we would have definitely said no, 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 don't send them. But since they are already in India, outside the country, and they need to come and join you, you do not have an option but to send them. Go ahead, send them. Go ahead, send them, though. They should technically be eligible for it, but we want to know the result, though. Come and tell us later on what happened, because we're trying to learn the things, how the immigration is doing, how the State Department is handling these things. So definitely send them, though. Don't restrict.
Pappy says, is the advanced parole approval for pending 485s also reduced from 5 years to 18 months like the work permit is? There's been no announcement specific to the advanced parole, but I do expect that that is what's going to happen over the years. Whenever the validity period of the EAD has changed from 1 year to 2 year to 5 years, back to 2 years, now to 18 months, the AP approvals have been along those same lines. So I expect the AP will also be for 18 months, but they never make the announcement about the AP for some reason. I don't know if I have any that have gotten approved recently that I could point to. I'd have to look.
People are asking South Caribbean on H-1B visa stamping. We don't recommend, guys. I mean, we had some bad situations where people have gone on the cruise and their visa was been revoked, and now when they want to come back, I mean, it's a lot of hell that that guy has to go to, that family has to go through. Believe me, we have to make alternative plans. What if they're being detained because their visa has been revoked? What will happen to the child? What will happen to them? How many days they're going to be in detention? All those things have to be analyzed. No, don't travel to South Caribbean islands on H-1B stamping right now.
Gayatri says, I want to transfer my child from my husband's H-1B to my H-1B. What is the average time duration for H-4 approvals? In general, H-4s are taking anywhere from 8 to 10 months right now, maybe even 12 to 14 months. It is very slow when they're filed as a standalone.
Anup has this question. How about the H-1B extension with a past arrest but no conviction? Now, here is the problem, though. If you have an arrest record, simply they are going to ask you for the biometrics. They're going to ask you information about how the arrest record, that particular case for which you have been arrested for, was been resolved. You probably need all those documents and keep it ready with you. So they will issue an RFP when you extend it, when you amend it, when you file the change of employer, when you file an I-140, they will issue an RFP if you're an arrest record.
Vinay says, I'm currently in India for H-1B stamping. My appointment has not been canceled. However, I also have EAD AP. Should I cancel my H-1 appointment and travel back on AP and then switch to H-1B after a short trip to Canada? I do think that is a smart idea to come back on AP rather than try to go through the H-1B stamping process. It's not necessary for you to switch back to H-1B by traveling to Canada. Your entry on AP does not impact your H-1B status as long as you're continuing to work for the same company under the same terms and conditions of your H-1B time. And you can extend your H-1B, transfer your H-1B, amend your H-1B as needed, even though you entered on the AP last time.
Somebody's asking, can I travel to Punta Cana? I don't know where that is. Punta Cana.
I
It
think
seems that it's
that's
a Dominican Republic.
Jamaica.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Dominican. I just Googled it out. It's Dominican Republican. No, no. Don't travel, even though you have a stamped visa. Don't travel right now. Don't travel.
Um, Rishikesh says spouse's H-1B transfer was filed in August 2025 and is still pending, but did not file the H-4 and H-4 EAD along with them. That's not expiring until January 2027. Can you file the H-4 and H-4 EAD extension while the H-1B is pending or wait till the approval? You can file based on a pending I-129. You may run into an issue filing so early because your H-4 and H-4 EAD are good till January 2027. They could say it's too early to file. Haven't really seen that happen. You may want to wait till it's approved and file 6 or 8 or 12 months before the expiration.
This very good question from Ganesh. He is outside the country. He has an I-140 approval, and he has an if some company files a H-1B with the consular processing, he doesn't need to go through the lottery system. He just needs to get a H-1B applied in the consular processing. His question is the $100,000 applicable to him? Answer is yes. The $100,000 is applicable to the consular processing since he's outside the country. I know that we all said that you are not subject to the H-1B lottery. I have repeatedly said that you can always come back on H-1B in the next 90 years without any problem. I'm sorry, I take back my word. Things have changed right now. And if some company has to file a H-1B for you in the consular processing, they must be willing to pay the $100,000. If they don't pay the $100,000, the immigration won't entertain the application.
Oasis Mimdias, and I'm not sure. My wife's company attorneys asked whether an H-1B filing would be needed for 2026. She's currently on an H-4 EAD. What do you recommend? Should she remain on H-4 EAD or consider changing her status? I think that as of right now, the regulatory agenda does not appear to be planning to restrict H-4 EADs. That being said, it can be a good idea for you and your spouse to have separate statuses that are not dependent on each other in case something happens with one person's job or the other. So if the company is willing, definitely can't hurt to go ahead and have them submitted in the lottery. You can always decide whether to proceed or not between April and June. And if she does proceed with it and get the change of status to H-1B, she can always switch back to H-4. And now she's got that H-1B counted in the cap in her back pocket that she can use in the future if necessary.
The question is coming, should I do the H-1B extension in premium processing? We want you to get the results of the H-1B extension before the I-94 expires. Let's say, for example, if your H-1B is expiring in April of 2026, we want the H-1B result before March. That means that if you are in January or February and you still did not get the approval, you get the approval. And I advise everybody, probably premium processing is definitely a very good option because you get the result earlier. And then people will say, what good is that going to be if the people result is going to be good earlier? Here is the thing. If let's say, for example, extension gets denied, and you can file one more extension. You can move from company A to company B because your current H1B is not, nothing is happening with your current H1B. You can move to company A to company B. You can file one more extension. But if your H1B is expiring in April 2nd of 2026, now you are on April 10th of 2026, your extension gets denied. Oops, you can't move to H4 because your I-94 expired. You can't move to B2. You can't move to F1. You have to leave the country. You can't go to a different company. You have to leave the country. When you leave the country, guess what? If the company files a H1B, the new company has to pay $100,000. So the officer has 100,000 reasons to somehow deny your H1B. Now, if you are going to go back to 2017-18 period of time, now we are not seeing that many denials at this point of time. But believe me, in 2018 and 2018, at that period of time, 30% to 40% of the major companies' H1Bs were getting denied. Now, previous to the first Trump administration, when an H1B denial used to come, it was a big deal. The company used to be on the conference call. The employee used to be on the conference call. The employer's wife used to be on the conference call. The employer's dad used to be on the conference call. They used to scrutinize every little word. When there is an RFE, the lawyer takes a particular stance, and they go to a different lawyer, get a different stance, and then say that this lawyer is wrong. I'm not telling, sometimes when we take one side of it, we may get a denial. Now, it was a deal of the month or a quarter for us that we got one denial. Guess what? In 2018, in our office, there was not a single day. Every single day, we got a denial. Every single day, we have got a denial. And right now, we are not seeing that many denials at this point of time. Could it be that it can go that side? Yes. We are seeing more denials than previously. And we definitely want people to make sure you get the result before the I-94 expires, because then you have a lot of different options at that point of time.
Morales says, does the H-1B visa need to be stamped if the H-1B has changed employer and no visa is stamped with the new employer in order for the H-4 visa to be stamped at the consulate? No, there's no requirement that you have an H-1B stamp in your passport at all, or let alone with your current employer, in order for your H-4 spouse to go for stamping. They need to see that you are maintaining your H-1B status. So you have an H-1B I-797 approval notice with an I-94. You have the pay statement, you have an employment verification letter, have the marriage certificate. Those are the documents that they'll use, but they don't need to see the visa stamp. It's not required.
If somebody wants to extend the H4 validity because of the 540-day rule, and they want to travel to Mexico, though, I definitely want you to consult an immigration lawyer to make sure everything is all right. Then, at that point of time, if the lawyer and you agree with it, then you can travel, though. The people are asking about will the 5 countries will be added to the travel ban. I thought he just added 2. And this gentleman is telling 5 countries. Who knows? Maybe by the time we are in this we are in this YouTube channel, only 3 more countries may have been added.
Right.
Uh, yeah, they will be. They will be added. I see the Senegal and Ivory Coast has been added. I don't know about the rest of the 3 countries, but yeah, there are people are asking, can India be added to the travel ban? No, we don't know at this point of time. Hope not. That's one of the reasons for you not to travel.
Um, Rajani says, I've applied for my H4 extension, and meanwhile, I have an H1B pending for approval. What will happen to the H4 extension? So, if you get the change of status to H1B approved and you want to be in H1B status, you may need to withdraw the H4 extension. Otherwise, the H4 may still continue to be processed, and you might end up with both approvals, and then it becomes questionable which status you're actually in. So depending on which status you want to be in, you may have to withdraw one or the other.
7 years before, an arrest for speeding and careless driving ticket. And please listen to what this gentleman is telling. Speeding and careless driving, he got arrested though. Because of that, his visa has been revoked right now. He's asking the question, should he provide all the documents before to avoid the RFE? Hmm. I'm thinking you should not. That's my judgment call. The reason, if you provide all those things, they will ask something extra. And then at that point of time, what are you going to provide? And they want to get the biometrics done. So, irrespective of it, they may still issue a biometric notice requesting you to come for the biometrics. So, I don't see a reason why to provide all the documents. I would definitely keep all the documents with me and be ready to provide when they ask in the RFE.
Sunil says, based on your experience, are there any organizations paying the $100,000 fee and filing H-1Bs right now, or is it completely on hold? I'm not aware of any company that's actually paid it. Attorneys have not suggested that any of their clients are willing to pay it. None of my clients are willing to pay it. I do know several have submitted an email to the email address asking for the exemption. And as far as I'm aware, no one has gotten a response to that still, now that we're in mid-December. So yeah, it's pretty much everybody's on hold. No one's filing. And even those people that filed where people are outside the country but have a valid visa stamp, it's questionable of whether the $100,000 fee applies or not, because they're getting an RFE asking for the $100,000 fee, even though they have a valid visa stamp. So there's a lot of questions about that right now. And as far as I know, not one person has actually paid the fee.
Um, Trivikrant has this question. I have an H1B renewal stamping in February 2026. 10 years, no arrest, no DUIs, single employer, full time employment. Can I go for visa stamping? No, 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 no. Absolutely not. Here is the thing I would suggest, you have a very nice job. Why do you want to get stuck in there? The consular officer is very jealous that you are taking the American job. And that's one of the reasons for them to deny it. They will issue a 221G. I mean, believe me, there are immense number of 221Gs that we are getting right now. I mean, so many 221Gs. And by the time the 221G, they are just wanting to inquire about it. They might find something in the social media for you. That's a new excuse that they want to delay. Of course, your visa appointment most probably will be postponed. That's another reason for you not to go and get stuck there. And you have a very nice job with $100,000 plus salary there. Why do you want to go and get stuck there? Please don't go. Be merciful on immigration lawyers. Don't give us more work. We are really overburdened with a nasty work. I mean, we don't mind working, getting paid, and happy customers. Now I got my H1B, I got my green card. We don't like dissatisfied customers. I got stuck there. I'm crying, and you're asking me to pay the consultation fees? I'm sorry, we do correct that. We don't feed us. Don't. And be merciful on the officers that are working in the government. Believe me, if they do give a lot more visas, guess what the Trump administration does to them? They fire them, or they transfer to locations where nobody wants to go there if they grant you the visa. So be merciful on us, be merciful on the officers who are granting the visa. Don't make their life miserable who are nice officers.
Even with all of the things we've been saying about not travel, it looks like every other question that's coming up on YouTube is, I have a valid visa. I'm planning on traveling next month. I have a valid visa. I'm leaving in 2 days. Please, 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 please. I understand you have a valid visa. That means nothing anymore. Look at how many people had their visas revoked. I mean, 80,000, I think it was the last number, and that's just in the recent months. Um, yeah, it's not safe. We have look at all of the things that the Trump administration has done when it comes to legal immigrants. We've gotten rid of Dropbox, we've reduced it twice, now it's completely gone. No third country national processing, $100,000 fee, visa revocations, increase in 221Gs. Now we've got 221Gs for social media, having to make that public. And you really think now's the time to travel just because you have a valid visa stamp? No, I mean, we get calls every single day from people who had a valid visa stamp and now are stuck. It is not worth it right now.
A lot of questions are coming for the green card holder traveling to different countries. So if you have a green card, you do not have any arrest records, and you have never traveled outside the country on a single stretch for more than 180 days, you are okay to travel. This is only for the green card holders. I'm not speaking about the non-immigrant visa people. Now, that's one of the reasons we put the title is only for the non-immigrant visa people, not for the green card holders. What's your advice on
Even after
traveling?
that,
Sorry, go ahead.
it's just even after that long rant, another question. Can I travel right now? I have a valid visa. Do you see any issues for going for visa stamping in June 2026? Yeah, it's December 2025, and look at all that's happened. What do you think is going to happen by June 2026? Do you think things are going to improve? Absolutely not. It's going to be even worse. No, please don't plan to go stamping in June 2026.
Um, so many questions that just everybody wants to travel. I don't understand it. Why? I'm trying to pick up the questions that have nothing to do with the travel. So, um, I don't have any social media handling apart from Twitter X. Does it impact a vetting decision? It's when you travel outside the country, they are going to vet. They're definitely. If you're in United States, you don't have any problem. Social media is just an excuse to try to restrict people coming into United States, guys. It's not that they're going to find anything in it, though. I don't think so. They'll find anything in it at all.
Babu Rajendran says, I'm in the US. My new employer is going to do a change of status from B2 to H1B. My Indian passport is expiring in 5 months. Will that be a problem for the change of status? No, it is not a problem for that. As long as your passport is valid at the time you're filing the application and at the time of approval, it's okay if it's expiring 5 months later. It's travel that is the big problem when people have a passport expiring soon. And we've said multiple times, don't travel. So if you follow that advice, you should not have any issues due to your passport expiring as long as you renew it timely.
SR is asking question, naturalized citizens, are there any travel restrictions? None. Unless you're going to North Korea or Cuba, those countries you have to require get a permission. I think so to Iran, to Iran also, if I'm not mistaken, you have to get the State Department permission. But otherwise, no travel restrictions, none whatsoever at all for the naturalized citizens.
Yashwant says, I have my I-140 approved. I'm on H4 EAD. I've never had an H1B. My spouse lost the job. Can I move to H1B directly or should I go through the lottery? You'll have to go through the lottery unless your employer is a CAP exempt employer. So unfortunately, just because you have an approved I-140 doesn't mean you're exempt from the lottery.
People are asking questions if the NTA notice to appear in the deportation, is there any way to check? This is from Ravi Malik. There is a EOIR website where you can go and check if your name is appearing in the notice to appear. Now, There are some notice to appear where USCIS have sent notice to appear for the people who were in the 60-day grace period. Either they have applied for the H-1B transfer B2 or H4 they have received, but that was only in the month of July and August. And thanks to the effort of Emily, she did put all the things and sent it to USCIS telling that these people are within 60-day grace period, and the USCIS, we haven't seen any notice to appear for the people who have maintained who are on the 60-day grace period. We have not seen any notice to appear. Now, have we seen notice to appear for other people? Yes, if the H-1B extension has been denied and the I-94 has already expired, we have seen some notice to appear for them. If the change of status has been denied and their current status has already expired, we have seen some of those people getting the notice to appear. So that's one of the reasons I was being telling from the beginning is to get the result before the I-94 expires. But for the 60-day grace period people, we haven't seen any notice to appear. From the month of September to right now, we have not received it, thanks to the effort of Emily.
Gayatri says, do you think these more than 5-month delays between biometrics and visa interviews is going to be a constant thing in the future? Or is it just right now? They're not purposely delaying between biometrics and visa interview. It's just that they decided they have too many interviews scheduled now that they have to do the social media vetting. They don't have time to get through them all, so they canceled those and rescheduled. So going forward, I mean, this is just exactly what happened with F1 students in May. They announced their social media vetting policy. They completely paused all F1 visa issuances for about a month, the entire month of June. And then going forward, everybody was subject to that social media policy. So any new appointments that were opened up were the normal process, just you had to make your social media public. So that's what's going to happen. It's just in this transition period, they did all of this at this time on purpose to inflict as much pain as possible. That's their goal here. There are way better ways that they could have implemented a simple policy change like this. They chose the busiest travel time of the year when people just want to go home and visit their families to, and why is it that they had to cancel the visa interviews? Why couldn't they just interview those people? And if they find anything in the social media, issue a 221G. That's fine. But to cancel the interview makes zero sense. You could still have done the interviews. That's my rant for that.
Very good question coming from Anil Kumar. Is it right time to change the employer right now? We don't see any problem in changing the employer right now. I don't see any problem. If you're an H-1B, you want to change the employer, we don't see. However, previously, people used to join the company when you are working for company A on H-1B. When company B files a H-1B, you know that on the receipt notice or the FedEx tracking number confirming that your application has been received by immigration, you can start working for company B. We do not recommend that anymore. We recommend that you file the H-1B with company B in the premium processing, get it approved in the H-1B. If you have to pay the premium processing, please pay that. Don't join on the, if you can, avoid joining on the receipt notice. That's what we normally recommend.
One last question here. Fun Magic says, can we appeal these prudential visa revocations? That's very difficult because there is no appeal. The State Department has full authority to revoke visas for any time, any reason they want to. However, we are considering litigating these visa revocations, which we did also during the F1 student visa and the SEVIS terminations earlier this year. So we are actually starting to put that together now. So if you want to be included in that, you can email us for the details. If you want to, you can email Stephen at rnlawgroup.com. Stephen Brown is heading that litigation up right now.
Anything else, Emily?
I think we're out of time. Thanks everyone for joining in. Please don't travel, even if you have a valid visa.
Don't travel outside the country. Don't travel outside the country. Don't travel outside the country. Please don't travel.